Welcome to our group project mediation. Today we will be watching a simulated mediation based on a sibling inheritance conflict. In this video, we will introduce you to the mediation process. We will highlight important and effective tools that mediators use. Mediation is facilitating negotiation and an important tool used to solve a variety of conflicts. The mediation process is broken up into 5 stages of mediation, including the mediator's monologue, party statements, setting the agenda, problem solving, and closure. This first stage is the mediator's monologue. In this stage, the mediator will clarify the process, execute the agreement to mediate, and answer the client's initial questions. Throughout the video, the mediator will use various skills to facilitate the mediation. We will highlight these skills on the bottom of the screen. Some of these include questioning, reframing, demonstrating impartiality, and being patient. Let's take a look.
Have a seat. For everyone? Yeah. I'm going to start off with introduction. My name is Shane. I'll be your mediator for today. We're going to go around the table and introduce ourselves and your relationship you have with everyone. So would anybody like to start?
I'll start. I'm the oldest. We're all siblings. My name's Oliver.
I'm Courtney, and I'm the middle child.
And I'm Emily, and I'm the youngest.
Alright. So I want to say thank you for coming out today. I know you guys have busy schedules, and I want to say thank you for taking the time to come into mediation. As for the fee, I did send home a packet about that. Did everyone receive that, and is everyone okay?
Yes.
With the fee? Awesome. So has anybody been in a mediation before?
No.
No.
Alright, so I'm going to briefly explain what a mediation is. So a mediation is a facilitative negotiation where parties come together in hopes of solving conflict. I wanna have a safe environment here where you guys can have effective communication and hopes of coming to an agreement. And by the end of mediation, if there is no agreement made, that is totally fine as well. So in a little bit, I'm going to have you guys sign the agreement to mediate, and that just helps us proceed into our mediation. And I've already sent you guys that via email, so hopefully everyone has read through it. But I will go through some key points in the agreement to mediate. Does anybody have any questions as of now?
No.
Okay, mediation cannot go on. You guys are welcome to end the mediation. If you guys feel like you guys need to take a break, just let me know and we can make arrangements for that as well. If I, as the mediator, feel like there has been a deadlock, I will ask to go to caucus. And what a caucus is just meeting individually with each party and going over the details of what has brought you here today. Does everyone understand what a caucus is?
Yes.
Awesome.
Will everybody know about each caucus, or?
Depending on the party, if the party wish to keep the information confidential, that information will be kept between the mediator and the party that is being spoken to. So yes, it will be confidential. So one portion I want to touch in the agreement to mediate is the confidentiality. And today we will be participating in honest and open communication to ensure safety of myself and the parties. I'm going to have everything in the mediation be confidential. So all the documents will be shredded. I will be taking notes on a piece of paper if that's okay with everyone. But there are exceptions to the confidentiality that I will have to report, and that is abuse to, like child abuse, abuse to any elderly, or abuse of any person with disabilities. I will have to report that. So as far as communicating and facilitating the mediation, you guys as the parties will be in charge of doing so. So however you feel comfortable with, you guys are welcome to facilitate the mediation however you like. But if I feel like someone isn't being respectful, I will step in and kind of approach it a little differently. As for timing, I have devoted this whole day. I've scheduled you guys all day for this, so don't feel like you guys need to be rushed. There is no time limit on this. Again, if by the end of mediation there is no agreement or resolutions made, that is totally fine. Does everyone understand? Any questions? All right. So I'm gonna have you guys sign the agreement to mediate that I've sent you guys over email.
As you can see, the clients are signing the agreement to mediate. This is vital to the mediation process because it allows for the mediator to set the tone and protect the parties' confidentiality.
Alright, we're gonna start our mediation right now. First off, I want to have each party give a statement to what brought you here today. I want to remind you that we need to respect each other and give each other time to speak. So I'm gonna ask for you guys to hold off on your comments or questions till the end of everyone's statements, if that's possible.
The next stage is the party statements. In other words, the client's opportunity to share their story. This allows them to share their perspective on the conflict and clarify their interests. It is important for the mediator to use active listening and maintain connection with the clients. Active listening is giving a person the experience of being heard. Once each party has had the opportunity to share their perspective, the mediator will summarize what he has heard.
Being the oldest, I should go first. So like I said, my name is Oliver. I'm the oldest. I have always been very close to my parents. I've known them the longest, just because I have years on top of my siblings. I've always felt obligated and responsible for taking care of the family, helping out more when I can. I currently live very close to where my parents' house is. I took it upon myself to care for them in their older age. My other two siblings weren't very involved. Courtney was. Emilie was not so much. And so I lived close. I took a part-time job just so I could watch my 3 kids as well as take care of my parents because the other 2 weren't really there. And I didn't expect them to be there. It's just because as the oldest, I should be the one that's taking care of them, but there was a lack of support on that end. And my parents, I love them a lot, and I think in some aspect I can say the same for my 2 siblings. It was really hard to have them die so close together in time. They're both very unexpected, and I really want to see us stay close. I know we've been kind of distant growing up. I mean, what siblings aren't? And I hope that this dispute, as hard as it is for our family, is a way to really bring us together and say we came out of this on top positively, and not really make it worse than what we have come from so far. So I mean, that's about it.
So it seems that family is really important to you, and you feel like it should be continued by staying close with your siblings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what would be best. We'll do better together than individually. So.
All right. So does anybody want to go next?
Yeah, I can go. I agree a lot with what Oliver says, but I feel like I was there for the best that I could have been there. I feel that there's a lot of special things that our parents left behind, and I feel like those should be taken into consideration, and that we should be more concerned with that instead of just trying to sell it or trying to split it. Kind of go with what people feel like is more important to them and what's important to our parents.
So it's important for you that that your parents' possessions are being kept instead of just given away.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all right? All right. So Emilie, would you like to go now? Is it okay if you go, Emilie?
Yeah, that's fine. I hear what they're saying, but I don't agree with any of it. Like all this talk that Oliver has brought up about being close and connected and this is the best time for it, I just don't see, because I haven't talked to these two in quite a long time. They haven't reached out to me, so I'm not sure why all of a sudden they want to be really close and connected family. And also, I just got engaged. I'm getting married soon, and I'd rather just start that family on a clean slate and be done with this, really. So, this is like a favor for me to be here because, I'm not connected to this family. I haven't been a part of it. And so I just say we, cut our losses, split the money, split the possessions and sell it, and, split the money 3-way and be done with it and, not have this conflict anymore.
So what you're saying is that you feel as though throughout the years with your family that you guys haven't been connected at all, and you feel like it's time to start a new chapter in your life, like from today, so you can move on with your marriage and start your new family. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. What are some important priorities for this mediation and what you guys want to get out of it in resolving by the end of today's mediation? So does anybody want to start?
I'll go.
Okay.
I really think that we should go over what we need to sell. There's a lot we need to sell. What money is given to each person, and I just really want to start my new family and put this aside.
I don't know if I feel like we should just start selling things. I think things should be more figured out what is important to everybody. I mean, I feel like Emily just wants to sell everything.
The next stage is setting the agenda. This allows for the parties to visualize what they are going to address in problem solving. This is done in a variety of creative ways. Now let's see how the mediator sets the agenda for this particular mediation.
We need to touch base on throughout this mediation. So the agenda we set today is to talk about the property, the family relationships, and of course the possessions under your parents and how that will be distributed. Does anybody have anything to add to that?
No.
No.
Don't think so.
Alright, so let's go ahead and kind of dive into each one of these more specifically. So I left the agenda on the wall so everyone can see what we...
The next stage is problem solving. In this stage, there's further discussion of interests, and the parties will start to generate settlement options. One of the most important things for the mediator to stress is that the agreement is self-determined. Also, making sure that if the parties come to an agreement, it is realistic. The mediator can do this by challenging the parties' BATNA. BATNA is your best alternative to negotiated agreement.
I left the agenda on the wall to let everyone see what we will be talking about throughout the mediation. The first point on the agenda is property. So can someone elaborate on what this is and why it has become an issue with property?
So I feel that someone should be able to keep the property. I feel like it has a lot of meaning, and I feel like to just sell it would be losing a lot of its actual meaning to all of us. And so I feel like that it would be very important for someone to keep it. I don't think we should just sell it.
And by property, do you mean just their house, or
Yeah,
do they have
I'm talking
multiple
about
houses? Okay.
I can agree with that. In fact, being the oldest, I think it's best that I take over the house. I have a family. The house, in some way raised us with our parents. It held us. And I think that my family would be a great transition. We live in the area. It'd be good for the kids to stay in the area. And that would be probably the best fit, since Courtney lives far away and Emily doesn't live in the area.
Courtney or Emily, what do you guys feel about that?
I don't know if I feel like Oliver should have the home. I mean, he has a home in the area. We all grew up in that area, so we feel it's a good area. I just recently moved into my apartment with my boyfriend, so I wouldn't mind taking the house off of it and going ahead and starting maybe a family of my own there.
So with the property, you would be moving in with your boyfriend into the to the house if you were to have the property.
Yes.
Okay.
I disagree completely. He always plays this oldest child, it's my responsibility card, and you know, like, this time it's not gonna work, okay? So, I know we're attached to this house, we grew up in it, obviously we're gonna have feelings about it, but there's more value to sell it than to, you know, be unfair and have someone raise their children in it, or I just don't think it's the right thing to do. I mean, it's weird.
So you feel like everyone's stable enough as of now to just sell the house to get the money and just go on with their lives? And
Exactly, yeah.
Instead of leaving the house there.
No, because I don't think selling the house, it's not I think Courtney hit on it, it's not for the money, it's for the memories. We were raised there. I mean, anyone think back to their family house, it wasn't abusive. I mean, you had different interests, you had different perspectives of the family, you had different feelings, but we weren't an abusive family. It wasn't a broken home. It was a home that raised us as kids. We enjoyed it. It wasn't until later after you moved out when you started being very separated from the family. I think the house has a lot of value, and I think we need to keep it. It's in a good community. We know the neighbors. I think it'd be a good representation for us to move in and continue that house. And I think that one of us needs to live in it, and I think it'd be me, because you just moved in your apartment, and you have another year or two lease on it. Like, you don't have the feasibility to move out of it. You're stuck in a contract.
So it seems like with you two, there's more sentimental value to the house instead of just money coming from it. There's something behind it that wants you to keep the house. Yeah.
You know, like, I agree. I had some good memories there, you know. I'm not gonna say that it was an awful abusive home, because it definitely wasn't. It was when I got older that things, you know, became a little bit more separated, but I have good memories other places too, and I'm not gonna stay there forever. I mean, we have to grow up sometime and let things go, you know. You can't just keep holding on to everything that we always had, you know. Our parents are gone. That house was theirs. We just need to move on from that.
I'm sorry you feel that way, but I think that I would just really enjoy moving in. I mean, you brought up my contract. I have a friend that's willing to buy my lease off of me, so I can easily sell it and get rid of it. That way, I feel like I'm really willing to start my new family in our house that we grew up in.
So from this, what are some options that we can, you know, of course we hear that, you know, we either sell it or we either keep it for or for either Oliver or Courtney. So what are some options that we can bring up and to resolve this property issue? Do you guys can think of any?
I think it depends also on possessions, because Courtney wants a lot of the possessions. There's a few that I can agree with Emily that we can do away with. There's no meaning to them. They're not, you know, useful. They just have memories, and I'm okay with departing from some of that. I'm not, you know, thinking about burning everything or tossing everything out, you know, to get money. But I also, you know, Courtney wants most of the possessions. She's very connected to them, as she mentioned earlier, and now she wants the house. And so I'm willing to make some kind of a compromise, but right now I feel like she just wants it all for herself.
So let's jump down to our third point, which is possession, since it kind of goes into it. So it seems like from you, you feel like there are some things that you can get rid of and some things you can keep in the house.
Yeah.
So, and Emily, do you feel the same way, or do you have different view on that?
You know, I feel like there was a lot of bills left behind that came out of my pocket, and I'm sure both of their pockets. So, I mean, how are we going to pay for that if we just keep everything and split it? I mean, we need to sell things, you know. And that's fine if they want a little something to remember besides their memories, but I think we should sell the majority of it.
And Courtney?
I think an option, since no one's jumping on an idea. I mean, they did have 2 vehicles. I don't see us having a need for them. I'm stable with vehicles in my family, with my kids and my wife. I think selling those potentially could pay off the bill. Because we did inherit a a couple of bills that are putting us in debt that our parents didn't share with us because they wanted to provide us with the best, life without us knowing about those debts. And I think, there is a balance. I think we should pay them off, but at the same time, I don't think we should sacrifice all of our family belongings. And I can see the cars, cars are cars, and we could easily sell those, and that could go to another family that can use them. They're in good condition, we'd get a good price. I don't think selling the house is a good idea. I strongly would like to keep the house in the family. It's in a growing neighborhood, like I said. It's very well kept. It was recently remodeled about a decade ago or so. We helped remodel it as a family. But the cars, I don't know what you all think about the cars. I think we can do away with them.
Yeah, I think we should get rid of the cars. We don't have a need for them. We all have vehicles already.
So it seems that you guys, or from what I'm hearing from Oliver and Emily, that you guys are more comfortable of getting rid of the cars instead of more of the house. Well, with you, Oliver, more of the cars than the house.
Yeah, I prefer to sell the house, the cars, to sell the house.
And then with you, Emily, you just want to get rid of the cars as well.
Yeah.
So that's something we can compromise with.
Yeah.
And then how about you, Courtney?
I guess we could get rid of the cars. They are a little bit older. I do have a car. We all have cars. So, and that could be something we could possibly be willing to.
Okay. So it seems like everyone's in agreement to put the two vehicles that your parents has owned previously up for sale. Is that correct with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Or in possession.
Are you guys can think of that might be an issue with either the property or the stuff inside the house?
I think that there was a lot of older things that have been left behind from previous generations, and I know that those are going big. Vintage items are really in right now. So, we didn't have really connection with them because they weren't our mom or dad's, right? So, I think if we sell those, we can, get rid of all the debt along with the car. I think that would take, all the debt. So there was some paintings, the drawer, in front of the kitchen area. There's a little armoire, little kitchen things. So I think that and the old clock that's in the living room, I think those three things could definitely go.
Alright, and what do you guys think about that, selling some bigger items in the house to help?
They were in our house the whole time we were growing up. I don't know how I don't feel like there was a connection. The clock was how we woke up on Christmas. I just feel like there's so much importance to those items in our lives than just to sell them.
I can agree. I feel that we can get rid of, regardless of if we, it sounds like we're going to try to keep the house. So say if we keep the house. Well, we all have furniture at our own place, so why don't we get rid of some of the furniture that can be replaced? Or at least keep in mind that if we keep a dresser or a drawer that we would sell ours, getting that money elsewhere. Because I think those were kind of extreme ideas because those have been passed down through our grandparents, who we really didn't get to see when we were young, but that's our only memory of our grandparents, and I think it's really cool that our family kept that. But, there's a lot of other things that could be sold. There's lawnmower, I have a lawnmower, you probably have a lawnmower, other kitchen supplies that we don't need. There's a lot of stuff in the basement that they stored that we can go through. I'm sure there's old antique things that we could take to auctions, but I think things that have definitely came through are our grandparents. I don't know if, I know Courtney mentioned before this that's something that she really wanted to go through the house, and you can speak to that, Courtney, but I think it's valid. You should say it, but.
So it seems like with Courtney and Oliver, there's more sentimental attachments to the possessions in the house rather than Emily, you wanted to just sell everything so we can
Yeah,
so you guys
I have attachments to them, but I feel that the last couple years that my parents were alive, that, you know, like I've had negative feelings towards that. So keeping those possessions in...
Alright, so with the possessions, we did discuss about the 2 vehicles that your parents owned and that you guys were going to sell that, is that correct?
Yes.
With the other possessions in the house, does anybody have any solutions to resolving this issue with one another? And how this can go forth? And if you guys are going to keep...
I definitely think it's important to sort out the things that we feel is most valuable to ourselves, not necessarily value in monetary value, but in sentimental value in that way.
So Emily, how do you feel about that?
You know, I think it's going to be really hard to separate emotional ties with things that don't have emotional ties, because Courtney has emotional ties to everything, and it's going to be really hard. She has emotional ties to, like, the bowls she ate of when she was 5. So, you know, we're going to have an emotional tie to everything, according to Courtney.
That just, I don't know, that don't make sense in my brain. I mean, you should have some kind of emotional tie to something.
Well, what do you not have emotional ties to? Can you name one thing?
I mean, this is what I have to deal with because instantly she's insensitive to what she finds valuable.
Oh, now I'm insensitive?
And you are oversensitive. Like, you two can't find a compromise. I mean, this is why I came here in the first place, is that these two start out about what's sentimental, what's not sentimental. And it's hard for me because I'm willing to compromise what is and what's not. But it's like they're not even hearing each other out.
Oh, so you're the one that's right, and we're
I know,
just...
he
I'm the
always
oldest.
plays the Mr. Right card.
I'm the oldest.
And the oldest card.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why we've not got anywhere at all.
Well, we got 2 cards sold. Alright, that's pretty much far. That's what you wanted.
Yeah, that is what I wanted. Let's see
And
the
we're-
rest.
I can't believe this.
So Emily, it seems like you want to sell like all the possessions in the house. So how would it feel, or what would it look like in the future if you were to sell everything? And how would you think your siblings would feel about doing so?
Well, you know, I think that it looks a little harsh to my siblings, and that's probably why this conflict has, you know, continued for so long. But I feel like my siblings just don't realize, you know, the disconnection of the family that I felt. And having those possessions in my home will just bring up that disconnection. And I just don't think it's healthy for me at this time to have possessions in my house, and it's not fair, you know, for them to keep everything.
And Oliver or Courtney, did you guys know that Emily was feeling disconnected from the family?
I mean, I know, like, physically, yes. There wasn't much interaction in the last couple of years, and I saw that. I saw it as independence. I saw it as, you know, getting a new life and getting things situated. I felt like I even did that a little bit, which I think is why I came back so strong with trying to be so involved in our parents' life. It's because I felt like I kind of stepped away from the scene. And so hearing that, like, I didn't see it as that big of a disconnect, and it really hurts me, you know, to know that what we value in the sense of items, it really hurts her. And I wouldn't want to keep something that is like a rubbing it in of her memories of the family relationship, and I can see how it would just be better to get rid of things because it would make her life easier, not having to dwell on those harsh experiences.
Right. And Emily, do you are you validating what he's trying to say to you? Like, is it everything correct?
Yeah.
Like how you're feeling?
Yeah, I think so.
Alright, and Courtney?
Yeah, I guess I just didn't ever think Emily felt that way. I mean, like, she moved away from college. I mean, she came back for like 1 or 2 holidays. I can see where, like Oliver said, like more physical, like missing from the family, but to realize that she feels like she's been disconnected both like emotionally from the family makes me realize a lot more things.
So that's a great point. It's a good time to dive into our second bullet point, which is family relationships, and I want to ask everyone how you guys see your family relationships in the future, and how resolving your conflicts today can affect how it's gonna look like later on.
Well, I kind of want to know from like Emilie, like what do you want to have us in your life? I mean, do you want us to be involved with the wedding? Do you want us to be there for you? Because I want to, and I can speak for Courtney. I feel like we want to be there for each other. I mean, I want to be there. I want my kids to have 2 aunts. I want them to have different experiences with their family, having a bigger family, because it just brings more to, what we stand for, and it's just like holding those values. Do you want us in your life? I mean, is it the items that you want to wait on, like, but you really don't like have us still around? Because I really want to be in your life. I just don't know how much you've been negatively affected by our previous relationship with our parents. I don't want that to influence our relationship with siblings.
With planning this wedding, it's like occurred to me that, it's really hard. I don't have parents to help pay for this wedding. I don't feel like I have support from this family, so it's something that's been really hard on me, and maybe that's, another conflict to this issue. So I wouldn't mind, starting out to see how it would go, to see if I can trust, that relationship is going to work. But, I can't promise that I can dive into everything and, be at family functions every week or anything like that, because it just hasn't been there, and I don't see it automatically changing.
So you're saying that, like, based on past experiences and relationship-wise, that, what's keeping you from kind of holding on to things, or the decisions you're making is just based on how your relationship with your family is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you want us to help with the wedding? I mean, I don't want to intrude, because I know that you've done really successfully on your own. And I know, like, when I went through my wedding with my wife, it was a really good experience, but again, I had mom and dad to help. And I know how much I wouldn't have been able to do without mom and dad. And I just think of, how hard it would be. I mean, I think of my wife, Sarah. She came from an abusive family, and I know how much that affected her, and now seeing that how it's really comparable to like how you're feeling, from like how much I hear her stories, I just know how awful it is to not have a family to go to, and I don't want you to feel like you can't go to a family. And so if you would like, I would love to help with the wedding, whether it's financially, with anything really, because I don't want you to feel like that I'm not here for you.
Yeah, I'd be willing to have you guys help a little bit more and be a part of it.
Yeah, I would love that.
That sounds great. Courtney, do you have anything to add? Like how you would feel like if, in the future, how things would look, or your ideal of your family?
Well, I haven't mentioned anything to you guys, but me and Jeremy just found out that we're going to have a child. And so, like, starting out a new family is going to be my new future. And so just looking at the family connections in that, I feel like that'll be really helpful and strong in starting my new family that way.
And then Oliver and Emilie, did you know that she's expecting a child? No. Okay. So now that we've talked about the family relationship and how all you guys view each other in the future, it seems that everyone has some type of common ground where they kind of want some type of interaction in the future. So since that's aside, let's talk about the possession and the property, and how we can go about that.
I think with hearing that Courtney's now going to have a more complete family, at least with it having a child, I think it makes more sense to keep the house. It'd be a smooth transition. The house is, has already raised, in a sense, 3 kids. And I think it's suited, and I think it'll be well kept, which is what I know we would like. And I think that would balance out a lot of the possessional items. I know the house is a big deal for anyone to take in this situation, and I feel like maybe we could, sell more of those possessions to potentially help pay for the wedding, because I know how much our wedding, me and Sarah's wedding was, and I mean that was with a parent's income, and there's no income, so I mean I don't know, like, if you're willing to sell more things now that you might potentially be living in the house to help Emilie. I think would be really good to help her out. And I think, I mean, a few possessions I can think of I would really cherish, but I don't plan on holding a lot because I know a lot of it will be kept at the house and the rest can be sold to help out Emilie in the wedding.
I feel like that's a really good idea. I feel like I could, if that did end up where I could keep the house, that would be a lot of sentimental value for me and the whole family. We all get to still see the house, visit the house, hold events in the house. So I could sell a lot more to help out Emilie's wedding and be that way. I think that would be definitely a good starting point.
So it seems that Oliver, you is willing to kind of give over the property to Courtney due to the circumstance is appropriate, and so Emilie, how do you feel about that? Going about that?
I'm more open to the idea after hearing about the pregnancy and, talking about, the relationships that we may continue to have. But I feel like that is such a big possession that I want to make sure that it's split equally, because I don't feel like we should give her much more than the house, because the house has such great value sentimentally and, money-wise.
Right. So you feel like the house is all she should get, and then the rest of the possession should go towards you and Oliver.
Yeah, basically.
Right. And Courtney, what are some of your alternatives or?
I feel like that's okay. I mean, like, some of the furniture won't be worth much selling wise, so I feel like I could keep some of that in the household. But definitely be more willing to sell more of the items and stuff. Just knowing that that we feel like our futures together will be more linked and connected will be enough sentimental value and hold many more memories than keeping the stuff. So we should be able to sell and get more money for you guys, and be more equally unfair.
So is that, like, the furniture something that you need right now? Is that something?
Not necessarily. I mean, just a few things. Like, like the silverware and stuff, you're not necessarily going to get much money out of. I mean, we can hold a yard sale or something and sell some of the stuff that we don't feel like needs. Like Oliver said, he can take some of the more sentimental value things that he wants. I feel like that kind of stuff we can split out a little bit later. I mean, we've discussed more of the bigger items, like the vehicles and the property and stuff. So, I mean, we can go through, like you said, there was more like downstairs in the basement, there's like antiques and stuff. So I'm sure we can get some money out of some of those that none of us really feel that connected to because they've just been boxed up and stuff. So I definitely think we could go somewhere from there.
Okay.
Alright. And I mean, and thinking about that, I think maybe it'd be best, would you prefer this just to be us three? Because I know in the past week, in the past month, whenever we did come about, starting to like divvy out what should come and go, I think that's where the conflict rose. I don't know if with this perspective, like, would you want to bring our spouses and our significant others, or would you like it just be kept to ourselves? Because I just want to make sure that it's a bonding experience for us, that, it's positive and that we don't feel that there's, negative or positive venues of like having different people there. Do you think it'd be best for just us to be there, or would you like to have your significant others and our families involved, so it's a big family event of like all going through it together? Because I just think whatever would be best for our family to feel really strong going through this process, I think really matters.
I feel I feel more like it might be more of a sibling thing to do. Our significant others might get in the way or bring up old conflicts that we've had, and it could just stop more arguing. Where right now we kind of are on a set mind track, so I feel like if we did it more individually as as us three, we'll get further in the process. So more of something like that.
Yeah, I think it should be between the three of us and not get outside parties of what they think is, special to them or what they think we may think, I think it just will get a little bit too tangled with, who do we include, who do we not. So I think this should just be between the three of us.
And I'm just thinking because I know this was our approach before, and then it just kind of escalated. So maybe before we leave, thinking of a plan of how we would split it, for every one item we save, we get rid of 3, or something like that, and we can take turns picking what we really want to keep, but having a higher estimate of what to get rid of. Because I know, before we were like, oh, let's just keep what we want, and there was starting to be pretty much the entire house was kept.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a solution that y'all have been thinking of that would be really beneficial, because I just want to set something in stone so that when we get out of here we have a concrete idea of what to go about.
I think that we should choose maybe the top items that we feel are really sentimental value, and maybe we, draw a name out of a hat and you get to choose first what your item and go down the line. That way, so it's not just the order of birth or anything like that, so it's random and it's fair. We all get, something that's meaningful to all of us.
That sounds like great options. And again, if you guys do come to an agreement at the end of this, we can all put that in detail into our agreement. So it's set in stone, like Oliver said, like a concrete type of thing, so you guys can physically see it and kind of go through with it.
Closure is the last stage of the mediation process. This is where the parties are able to finalize their settlement and draft a written mediation agreement if desired. If no agreement is reached, the mediator should end the mediation in a manner that will do no harm.
I'm going to read you some things I jotted down that would like to go into the agreement, the written agreement. The first thing I have is that the property, which is the house only, will go to you, Courtney. With the possessions, you guys as siblings will be able to go through it and sort out what is sentimental and what you guys would like to give up. And those possessions that aren't sentimental will be divided up between Oliver and Emilie. Does that sound good so far?
I just have an issue with that because I feel like the last time when we went over there, I don't want anyone getting carried away with, putting a ton of items in the sentimental when they don't need to be. So,
Right.
How are we going to do that?
Do you have any maybe suggestions how we can do that? Or anybody? How we can
Match, say Courtney wants 15 items right off the bat, Emilie wants 5 right off the bat, 10 falls in the middle, or finding a number where we're I can deal with going in. I think I can see what Emily's saying. It's better to go in with a set number, already decided, not changing and going in, I have to go off with 10 items. Because if you go in there, and then we decide, okay, well I have 20 items, I can do 15 because I really want these, because you already know what's there. So maybe if we set a number beforehand, I can get what you're saying. I just don't know what that number is like. I'm okay with any number really. I just want to make sure it's a positive experience for all of us.
So what I'm getting is that do you guys want to set an actual number of items that you guys will be able to get from those sentimental possessions? Is that correct?
Yeah.
And Courtney, how do you feel about that?
I feel like that would be okay.
Okay. So what number do you guys think would be reasonable and mutual towards all you guys?
You know, maybe like 5 items each.
5 items. Oliver.
I think that's a little hard. I think it's a little low. I mean, I can see off the top of my mind, like I feel it would be a little bit more. Because, I mean, where do you classify, like, the things left behind that were yours personally sentimental, or, like, what our parents had sentimentally, or was it just, like, 5 things in general in the entire house? You know, because I feel like I might have 5 sentimental things, but they're all what I had as a child growing up, but I still want some things that mom and dad left behind. So, like, I think 5 is a little bit limiting. I think we can either, you know, expand it to 5 parent and our own stuff, or, like, 10 overall, that's it. I just feel like 5 is a really short number.
So it seems that you would like more of a number of possessions.
I can kind of see where he's going. I mean, like you go in and you have a pair of earrings that was mom's. I mean, he was splitting that a little bit more because, like, I mean, some of that kind of stuff can sell more. So, like, where you're feeling like the less we keep sentimentally, the more money we'll make at the end. So I can see where that comes, but maybe more of like a, I don't know, like, sentimental, like, I can see where Oliver's going, where he wants a few more things. And I mean, I feel like I've already got the house, so if you guys feel like you want a few more sentimental things, then I can take a few less. That way, if you're worried about selling wise.
I mean, do you want to do that? I mean, I know earlier I threw out an idea of, like, we keep one item, we get rid of this many items. So it's like a ratio system. I don't know, I mean, that's kind of more of a gambling, because it, you know, it depends on how much we really want to, like, keep. But, I mean, that could be an option. Like, maybe it's too hard to set a concrete number, but knowing that if I take one item before I can take another, I have to pick 3 things I can get rid of. You know, so maybe it's like, kind of like this for that, like we have to pick things to put away before we can get something else equally.
I feel like that's a good idea, do more of a ratio, because we don't really know how many items is in the house, kind of just sitting here. So,
But I feel like if it's really important to you and has sentimental value, you probably have in your mind a set number of things that you would like to have. Or else you just get there and, you know, make up reasons why they're sentimental.
What if we went in and divided everything into 4 categories? Emily's belongings, your belongings, my belongings, and then mom's and dad's. And then that which belongs to us in the sense of, like, graduation stuff or things from high school, things that literally have our names on it or our names attached to it, that we succinctly agree that, you know, that was my room growing up, or you know, that was my toy, or that was, you know, my medallion, or whatever it may be, and that's up to our discretion, and then only picking 5 items out of our parents' stuff, maybe. I think would make it more like we can see a more visual, because I think we do have a lot of valuable things that mom and dad left behind, and if we limit to 5 sentimental items, the rest can be a lot of money. I feel like we never know what's, you know, in the house. I mean, I don't know what y'all think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, you know, we should take what's ours. I don't want to sell something that was yours, obviously, but, you know, I think the major big things, there's not going to be that many things that are sentimental that were mom and dad's.
So what I'm hearing is that what that was suggested is you guys will take all the possessions in the house, divide it, take everything that was yours, and then split pick 5 items out of what was your parents'. Is that correct? And then whatever is left will be divided between Oliver and Emily.
I think so, yeah, because with Courtney getting the house, I think it's only fair that we get all the other possessions, and it's up to our discretion. Even if we divided it evenly, I mean, Emily could sell it all, and then I could sell half of it depending on it. Or we could even get down to the nitty gritty of like maybe I took out the photos and all the things that can't really be sold, and making sure that she gets things that can be sold that are worth money. And that could be just another thing between the two of us, because that'll be a chunk of possessions that we can just now go through.
And does that sound fair to you, Courtney?
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Alright, so I'm gonna go back to the top of the list. Again, the property, which is only the house, will go to Courtney. And with the possessions, you guys will be splitting your possessions out. So whatever is yours, you guys get to keep. With the possessions that belong to your parents, you guys were to pick out 5 sentimental items that you get to keep equally between Oliver and Emily. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I just want to bring something up because I can just see that this will probably be another conflict, is if we disagree about whose item it is. And so if we could think of some possible ways to figure out, to settle whose items are who.
Right. So does anybody have any ideas?
I mean, I'm okay with if say I find an item that I think is mine and Courtney believes it's hers. I think if there's at all that situation, it automatically becomes a parent item. And if the individual really wants it, then they can select it as one of their top 5. But if not, it just goes in the bulk of everything else that will eventually be divided between me and Emily.
So you're saying that if there were any conflict or any arguments between an item, that it would just automatically be part of your parents' pile.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound fair to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna quickly go over this again for the written agreement. So again, the property, which is the house alone, will go to Courtney. With the possessions in the house, it will be split up into your possessions and a separate pile for your parents' possessions. If there are any disagreements with an item, it would be automatically to your parents' pile. Mm-hmm. And out of your parents' pile, you will be able to pick 5 items that you guys are gonna get to keep, and with the remaining possessions, will be split up equally between Emily and Oliver. Does that sound correct?
Yeah.
Alright. We did talk about the 2 cars, and then that we will be, or you guys will be selling the cars.
That's right.
Alright. And with the relationships between you guys, obviously Courtney will be moving closer to Oliver, so that's gonna create that bond between you two. And then if Emily is approving, that Oliver and Courtney will be helping out with her in the future with the wedding.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and kind of type this out. I will send it via email to you guys. Give you guys a couple of days to kind of analyze it and look it over. If there's any changes you would like to make, anything you guys would like to add. In a couple of days we can schedule a time and date to come in. Have you guys sign it and then have it official. Does that sound correct?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well I want to thank you guys for being here today. Yeah, so that concludes our mediation.
Thank you for watching our example of a mediation process. We hope you were able to take away some useful and effective points to develop your mediation skills and use in future negotiations.
These people got me questioning.